All right. For those of you who do not understand why Buddhism is satanic, I'll spell it out again. Not only do you have the martial arts that came from, right? You know them by their works. Why do these people make the dragon their main beast? When in Egypt, where the Jews were, and in the Bible, the serpent is the main adversary, the great adversary in the spiritual world of beasts is the dragon, right? The great serpent. So where was Newton, and what is paganism and science? And what is the connection? Of course, I've gone over this many times. Pagans were the original scientists, okay, if you put them all under that term. And Newton, well, that apple, right? Think about the labyrinth. The labyrinth is a puzzle, a riddle. It is a variation of those things in a different form, just like you have variations of animals. So where was Buddha, in at least one versions of the story? He was under the tree. You hear bonsai, right? Bonsai, Why is that also adopted by Japanese culture to where they choose the dragon as well? Because there is a pervasive Eurasian culture, and it has to do with Middle Asia and the Hittites. And there is a pervasive African culture, and there is a pervasive Afro-Asiatic culture. And because blacks were the greatest warriors around, the kings of the jungle, you can imagine that little Hittites or whoever Asiatics they managed to mix with, right, didn't exactly have a say in things, if you get my drift. They were like the Cushites to the Jews. You feel me? They were these foreign people that were somewhat related to them, right? Who were being taken into their tribe, and it's like, okay, make no mistake, this is Africa, where we are the best martial artists, not you, and we are teaching you. And don't you ever, ever in your fucking life use some serpent bullshit to try to usurp the pharaoh. And of course, that's what they did. And now that they've been caught, they are extremely embarrassed. And as they try to keep you from figuring it out, they took a almost completely scientific view when they said, hey, we don't descend from dragons. That's scientifically not correct. Because they decided if you understand what they were getting at, you're going to come to the conclusion that Eurasia is the land of the devil. The land that the devil was allowed to settle a certain amount of miles, right? And Africa is the source of all knowledge. And Israel is the closest place to Africa, symbolizing that you have to stay close to the source and the power. That's why Nahum 3:9, Cush and Egypt were her boundless strength. But Put and Libya were among her allies. That's like saying, there was a bunch of big black guys who were great warriors that were the boundless strength. And there were these Indo-Europeans, these other races that were just her allies, right? And if you were God and you were trying to express your might and be the Lion of Judah, obviously, you wouldn't be an Indo-European or a less than Indo-European. You would be a Cushite and a Shemite. And that's what Moses did from the start, right? Symbolizing that is how it's supposed to do. It's supposed to happen. And what happened when Miriam complained? Oh, yes, she turned pale like the Ninevites, the Ninnies, right? Ninjitsu, okay? Karate and Sam, the son of Sam, the serial killer, right? Sam, look up Sam and the connection to the devil. Sam, I. Abraham came from Ur. But before Asian martial artists, there was blacks. And for the same reason, before Abraham in Chaldea or Ur, I am. Thank you. All right. Think of the book Numbers in the Bible. Think of kings in the Bible. What are they telling you? What is it, the Nahum 3:10? Why were there 10 trees planted in Israel for my grandmother? Because 10 is the number of the perfected man. And that's how you get to heaven. And 7 is the path. 7 must eat 9 to make it to 10. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because he realized his bullshit did not work. And he ate 9. Like Jesus. The Jews were trying to be the 9. And Jesus was the 7. Like the Jews today are in the Democratic Party. And they control the media. Okay, let me get to this. Freya. Friday, Fria's Day, is how I was told and I read in many sites. So there's at least a belief in the Western culture, whether it's true or not, that that's where it came from. And of course, Gregorian calendars and timing and on and on. Okay, Egghead computer store, right? Let's control the egg and make everyone a snake who is an egghead. I want to eat eggs, eggs. What is a typical Western breakfast? And where are the typical white occultists from, right? Some rural KKK, Tennessee motherfuckers, some Albert Pike, Southern jurisdiction motherfuckers, right? Ham and egg and bacon sandwich, bread, ham, and eggs. Who eats eggs? Snakes like eating eggs. Why are people vegetarians? Because they know it's wrong to eat an egg, even though it's healthy. It sustains your material body, just like bacon, but it's wrong for you. It's bad for you. And the bread emphasizes the bread of man being controlled by the invaders of Egypt versus the bread of God, which is the true spirit that united Egypt, not just the materialism. So there's two major conflicting views that were irreconcilable, and a bunch of Romans tried to bring them both together to create the nine. And that is that the spirit of the Egyptian people, the land, and the God and everything, and the religious order, and is all that matters. That's why the Jews had an exodus out of Egypt. It symbolized that, yes, we are the spirit of these Afro-Asiatic martial artist type guys, or divine war arts, because they changed the name to martial arts. So you'd worship Mars, planets. Planets are symbolic of schools of thought, just like animals are. When you look at it from like very common, pervasive, pagan perspective, especially a Eurasian one, with perhaps a stronger emphasis on scavenging and thieving and being cold, left out in the cold and forcing yourself to be warm and having sex with women, their warmth. I want that warmth between her legs, right? Well, who feels that way? Well, people who are cold, right? And the kidnappings, as you see in Nahum 3, 8 through 10. Okay? So who doesn't want to eat ham and who does and why? Well, the sun rises in the east and the sweat sets in the west. So because of Satanism, Muhammad swept west through Africa, crossed the Strait of Gibraltar into Spain, and he meant to take on the Romans. Look at the history of the Roman fights with the Muslims. Why you don't know about this, okay? Well, why couldn't he do it? Because the Africans did not all back him up. Only the ones who were assimilated into a philosophy that had a moon symbol. The moon is the symbol, the crescent moon is the symbol of a Muslim empire, the Ottoman Empire, okay? Ottoman, Otto. Well, who is Otto? And man, okay? The philosophy of Set by itself is imperfect without the philosophy of Horus and Haru, okay? The philosophy of Christianity and Islam need each other. And why they need each other is because Islam clarifies why the white man is wrong, but they're wrong themselves, okay? And Christianity is the true doctrine. So you need to learn from both religious perspectives and all the cults and sex, right? Having sex. You need to learn from their different perspectives to see where the truth actually is. So what happened to the Muslims? They swept to Western Europe, across Africa, going west, and they stopped in Spain and France, that area. Why? Because they had set in the west. They settled down west of the Middle East, okay, in North Africa, and they stopped in Western Europe because they couldn't get any further, because they didn't have God on their side, because they were a little bit wrong. That's why Islam is 80% the same as Christianity. It is the ancient light temple story saying we have to work with these people if we're going to beat the Luciferians who hate us both. If we're going to beat the feminists and the gays and the atheists and the eugenicists who want to take our women and kill us both. And I'm not saying that there's no evil Muslims. There are. The 9, the 6, and the 7 are everywhere. But I tell you the truth, if you want to make it to 10, which is heaven, we are 5. We are people between heaven and earth. Heaven and hell on earth. We have a chance to go up or down. We are in between. You want to go up or down? She chose down. And she goes to the goblin, Nordic-looking scorpion king, and the 9, which is Hoggle. And the woman is the harlot that won Hoggle over with harlot pagan love, instead of eating and destroying the 9 with true divine war art strategy, whether it's scripture or literally spiritual battles that are very dramatic, which you can compare to planets. Oh shit, I went way over time. Let me stop. Is there anything else I want to cover? I'll put it in the comments. Yes, so that's why Muslims don't eat ham, because the people in these secret society, in the secret societies of Egypt, there were people from the light and the dark temple, and there were pussies willing to go either way, and that pretty much determined the world, right? And so the people, Hago was the guy willing to go either way, right? He represents the Semite, the Roman, right? And then there are the Vikings who are out in the cold, who are just desperate to rape and pillage and to survive. That's who they are. You know, they are a more dramatic version of the wolf nature. A wolf is willing to lie, only to a certain extent, right? You know, that's why the jackal is redeemable and can work with horse. And the wolf is a variation. The jackal has also been referred to as the black dog. And then there's a thin line between a wolf and a dog. What is a mutt, right? And again, what is a mutt? A mulatto. What's the difference between a mutt and a mulatto? What is a mulatto called? And what is he compared to? And what is it in reality? The Semite is mixed. I've gone through that many times. Afro-Asiatic dialect, you know, Cushite wives, you know, here and there, they're mixed. Okay, taking Canaanite wives and every Philistines and Amorites and wherever they came across, right? They're mixed. And they're mixed with a lot of Hamitic blood. So if you are truly in Abrahamic faith, Abraham, okay, an Abrahamic faith, okay, you're not going to stop at the mick. You're going to look at the rest of the word. Abraham. Abraham. And what is the A anyway? A bro, A. Why A? Why not Horus? Why Haru instead of Horus? Exactly. These vowels being interchangeable is not quite the case. The reason why they're quote unquote interchangeable is because it has to do with language and the symbols of letters and what they're trying to communicate and who's trying to communicate what. In conclusion, remember, the experts like Dr. Colin Ross, the psychiatrist himself, quickly concluded with 15,000 plus documents from the government themselves that the Scottish Rite funded MKUltra. We also know that Michael Aquino came up with Mind War, and he was the head of the PSYOP unit in the Army Presidio base right in San Francisco, where my brother lives. You know, not far away from me, maybe 45 minutes, depending on how much of a hurry you're in. Well, most of the time. So you also have to consider that Sidney Gottlieb was the dirty trickster and the dark sorcerer, okay? They have spelled it out for you in ways that you would have to be insane not to see. So when you see something as obvious as this, once it's put together for you and pieced together nicely, you're insane not to concede my point and realize you need to do